time being 7:30, I will call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
These people didn't reach out to me that aren't here.
Brown, Cam, I'm Grady. Carol. Oh, Carol didn't. Carol.
Did Carol reach out? Okay, so somebody else will have to, if he doesn't come in. John Morrissey is no here. Just kidding. I'm just teasing. There are 18 supervisors present. Supervisors Grady. Oh, Monica. I think it's too late. There are 19 supervisors present. Supervisors Grady, Gama, Brown are excused. Supervisor Caro is absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to a presentation by the Kenosha Sports Fishing and Conservation Association. We will have Walter Cruiser. Thank you.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Walter Cruiser, and I was the president until last week, and now we do the tag you're it kind of thing and moved on from there, but I'm still a board member. I don't know how many of you have ever been down to the salmon rearing pond down by 7th Avenue and Sheridan Road that our group has actually managed and operated for over 50 years. Back in 1974, then Mayor John Bellotti built the rearing pond with the DNR, and because they were having a very big issue of all the alewives polluting the beaches that thick, and they were trying to say, hey, how can we stop this? Well, the big thing that the DNR came up with was introducing Chinook salmon, or king salmon. And that's where our facility was built, is to take the little fingerlings like the little minnows and raise them for 3 to 4 weeks until they're large enough to sustain and survive in the lake on their own and not be food, basically. The DNR still releases some of them into the harbors and things, but the success rate there is about 30 to 40% return because they're so small they're going to be eaten. Our success rate returned by the DNR is over 90% return, and that's returned to Kenosha to spawn. We have a 1,001-foot well that brings up 45-degree water. We introduce river water from the Pike Creek. So what happens, the fish are raised on that. When they want to go home to spawn, they come back to Kenosha. They come back to where they were raised. It's been a very big, successful thing. I took over as president in 2022, and my first official act was a letter from the DNR saying that they're going to bulldoze the pond. They had no funding, no people anymore to manage it, and they could not sustain it. They had closed every other rearing pond in the state except for ours. Well, we scrambled and we actually saved it. The DNR and the city kind of back and forth, and one was liability and all this, but what it comes down to is that it's now owned by the Kenosha Sport Fishing Association, a nonprofit group, and the community. It's on the city of Kenosha property, but we have a lease with them, and the DNR, all they do is supply us with fish. Everything else is on our community, which is, we're happy with that. This past year, we raised 40,000 salmon and released them. We have raised, since the beginning of 50 years, 2.4 million salmon released in Kenosha Harbor, or Kenosha River here. People wonder why the sport fishing is so good here and why we don't have an alewife problem and all that. It comes down to one fish, and that is the Chinook salmon that we raise. It is a eating machine. When we get them, they're very passive and we feed them and they just kind of look like fish in an aquarium. After the 3.5 weeks, they are angry, they are hungry, they are fighting for the food, they're trying to go upstream already, and so that 3-week period gives them the edge in the lake to return here and to grow up to come back to be the fisheries that we have. The City of Kenosha and the Kenosha Charter Group have determined that between $3 and $5 million a year is returned from the sport fishing group, or sport fishing in Kenosha. That's between fuel and rentals and hotels and food and everything else. Basically what's happening, well, we run 2 other events. This coming Saturday is the Pike River Cleanup that we also do, and in June we do the Kids Fishing Fund, where we give away approximately 200 fishing poles free to kids, teach them about ecology and conservation and how to fish. And I tell you, it has been a pleasure of mine seeing these young kids come up. This past year, we estimate we had about 1,200 people come down to help feed the fish in the ponds when we feed them. And that includes state senators, that includes assemblymen, that includes everybody under the sun, down to little kids. Our money is by pure donation. Kids come up with $1, some corporations $100 here or whatever. We get no funding from any state or local government. We can't survive anymore on this. We have a 50-year-old well that last year I had to bang on the controllers and the pipes to keep it running. If we don't replace it, and it's basically the pond is done. We basically are writing grants, trying to get grants, but one of the big things that comes back from every major corporation that we approach is, why should we help you guys if Kenosha County, the City of Kenosha, aren't behind you, aren't donating to you, aren't helping you guys out? They're like, if your local community isn't behind you, why should we? And that's been a hard thing to swallow. We keep approaching the big corporations here locally. We get the same thing from Amazon, the same thing from Johnson Wax, from all the corporations. And we can't do what we do to help the community. We're all nonprofit, we're all volunteers. And, we have a couple of the original members left, and I actually saw one of them crying last week because we have this deficit. We have a $45,000 well improvement, bill that we have no way of paying. I guess what we're doing here tonight, and I'm doing the same presentation to the Kenosha Common Council, is we need your help. This is an asset for the community. This is a community, thing that people come here from out of town to see. Last year, I put underwater cameras in with all the little 40,000 fish. We had 65,000 views online on the YouTube site watching those fish just swim around and feed. And individual people watching that was 48,000 people from all over the country. We have members in Puerto Rico. We have members from all over just sending us money to help us. We're not politicians. I'm an electrician, so my job basically is to maintain the equipment on there. Our upcoming expense that we have to meet right now is $45,000 to put a new well in. It is 1,000 feet down. It is 50 years old. The DNR put it in. And, luckily, we only run it for 3 weeks straight. But to give you an idea of the size of the well, your home faucet at home puts out about 1.5 gallons of water a minute. This well puts out 250 gallons a minute. With that well and the pump in the river supplying the river water, it gives us enough for 4 tanks where we could actually take up to 80,000 fish, which would be a boon to Kenosha. But that's all DNR politics on how many we get, but the DNR asked us last year, hey, we would like you to host 4 different things. We want you to host rainbow trout. We want you to host coho. And we want you to host other species. Well, our electric bill costs us $1,000 a week to run the pumps. Yeah, and it's to the point where we've been up to here. You know, every year by the donations, we just meet it, you know. And, well, last year, it took us a couple payments in October to pay it, but we paid it all. What we're asking for is your help. And the same thing with the city. This is a community, I don't know what you want to call it, just, you know, asset. And what we need, basically, we're hoping that we can get a grant from the county and from the city for $25,000 apiece. And hopefully, $5,000 a year after that sustaining to help us promote and keep this thing here. And like I said, last year personally, I donated $2,000 just to help keep the electric up, and we had to replace the net. All that used to be done by the DNR, not anymore. So basically, I gave you a handout there. I'm hoping, you know, I know how budgets are tight, you know, but I'm hoping that you guys and ladies can kind of, you know, look at it and say, hey, yeah, we need to preserve this. And this is something that, you know, for that small investment, for even just a return of $3 to $5 million a year in local, you know, economy, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, but I don't hold the purse strings. And I thank you for your time. I hope that if you guys have any questions at all, I have my email address on the bottom of the sheet there. And, you know, the city already asked me to go and talk to the school system. You know, they want to start a program up where the kids come down in school classes to help feed the fish and learn about the economics, or not economics, but the ecology and things with it. So I got a lot of talking to do, but I thank you for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens wishing to speak? Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi there, I'm Todd Hauser, I'm from District 8, and my address is 6622 24th Avenue. The last time I got a Coke out of the vending machine, it was $3. I need you to reset your brains away from, I don't have 2.4 million fish or $3.5 million of economic impact. I'm Todd Hauser, I'm the Vice President of Kenosha Area Mountain Bike Association, and we have MOUs with Kenosha County to maintain the trails out at Silver Lake Park, and we have MOUs with University of Wisconsin Parkside and the Kenosha County to both build trails and maintain the trails at Petrifying Springs. So my job is to bring happy news, which is I figured I should tell you about our August numbers for volunteerism, as we have been best trying to log them. At Silver Lake Park, we had an incredibly wet spring and a very sunny summer, so there was plenty of maintenance and trimming to do. Across 2 days or events, there were 8 workers, which might be the same human twice, but 8 workers who put in 37 hours on trimming and things like that. At Petrifying Springs, we have 21 events across August. Sometimes that means there were 4 people who worked in the morning, and then somebody came back and worked in the afternoon. We would count that as 2 different events, who put in 471 and a half hours, and the median on that was, median number of workers that we had show up would be 4, but we had as many as 8 at sometimes, and sometimes I went out by myself to handle small items. So we had our grand opening a year ago in June 2023. We had 3 miles of trail open at that point, and we've since added from that, and I kind of tried to do some back of the napkin numbers. According to one of our trail builders who's up on these sorts of things, Rock Solid Solutions is a trail building corporation. To replace what we are doing, Rock Solid would charge $20 per linear foot, and then Jeremy Wytek, who is probably, and this isn't an exaggeration, he's probably the best trail builder in the world, but he's from here in Kenosha County. He was offering us the hometown discount of $15 a linear foot. So if we come in on even lower than any of those replacements, and we do $10 a linear foot, we've added 4 miles of trails since the original, so we have 7 miles of trail. And if anyone wants to beat me to the number, $369,600 would be what it would cost to replace, or more, that would probably be the baseline, to replace what we've done out there in Petrifying Springs. I want to mention our two best builders who basically have treated this like a second job, both Dustin and Casey. I'm not going to give you last names because they're probably horrified that I gave you their first names. But if you go out to Petrifying Springs, you are inevitably going to run into them on the trails. The latest trail that they have made is, okay, I'm biased, but it is nothing short of a work of art. It is an absolutely gorgeous trail from the point of view of mountain bikers, and we are going to be so excited when that opens up later this summer and into the fall. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. So thank you for your time, and if you'll excuse me, it is a full moon tonight, and I have a small town somewhere to terrorize.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to speak? Any other citizens wishing to speak?
John Franco, 10732 64th Street, Kenosha. I'd just like to recognize today as National Voter Registration Day. This occurs every year on this day, and I thought it was important to mention it, especially for those new members who may not realize that in 2018, this body passed a resolution recognizing National Voter Registration Day in Kenosha County. This nonpartisan civic holiday began in 2012, and since then, millions of new voters have registered nationally. The holiday has been endorsed by the National Association of Secretaries of State, the National Association of State Election Directors, the U.S. Election Assistant Commission, and the National Association of Election Officials. Unfortunately, 1 in 4 qualified voters have still not registered. As the longest-standing democratic republic in the world, to me, this is unacceptable and unfortunate. As a country, we should be leading the world in voter participation. In a recent book, Stephen Levitt and Daniel Ziblatt wrote, the authors of How Democracies Die, they've pointed out that there are many ways that democracies like the United States can flounder, ossify, and become resistant to reform. One of these areas, if not protected by robust political and legal norms, is in the area of voting. We have come a long way from only allowing landowning white males from participating in the franchise, but as a country we have a ways to go in order to perfect our union. It's also appropriate that National Voter Registration Day is also recognized as Citizenship Day, and that this entire week as Constitution Week. Our Constitution is the roadmap that defines the structure of a republic, but it is voting that is the lifeblood of our democracy. So I hope all of us reflect on the importance of this day, because it is so easy to take the precious right of voting for granted. There are so many people in this world who do not live in a democracy where they have an opportunity or privilege to vote. Let us all remember that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Franco. Any other citizens wishing to speak? Any other citizens wishing to speak? Hearing none, citizens' comments are closed. Moving on to announcements of the chairperson. On your desks, you will see a few forms which have a form for you to fill out on how you would like your 2025 budget given to you, either in paper form or electronically. If you'd like a link to the Excel, please make sure you fill that out tonight and leave it on your desk. They will be picked up and given to finance. Also, you will find a calendar of events during budget season, so everyone can see and plan accordingly for your committees and finance hearings. You will also notice that on Wednesday, November 6th, we are having our first reading and public hearing at 7 p.m. in chambers, not 7:30. And on Thursday, on the 7th, we will have our budget adoption at 7:30. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Finance, Patty Barna. They'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of former County Board Supervisor and Chairman Wayne Kessel. Wayne was 95 years old and a resident of Pleasant Prairie. He passed away on Monday, August 12th, 2024. Wayne was a lifelong resident of Kenosha and was a pillar of his community, dedicating much of his life to public service. He served as a Kenosha County Board Supervisor and Chairman and on the Pleasant Prairie Plan Commission, where he made significant contributions to the community. Wayne's professional career spanned an impressive 64 years at We Energies, where he began as a tree trimmer and steadily rose through the ranks over the decades. His leadership and dedication extended beyond his professional life as he served as president of the Wisconsin Counties Association and chairman of the board for the Wisconsin Retirement System. He was also deeply involved in charitable work, serving on the boards of the Shalom Center and the United Way. Wayne deeply cherished his family and often spoke lovingly of his wife Pat, his soulmate, with immense pride. His legacy of service, leadership, and love for his community and family will be fondly remembered by all who know him. At this time, please join me in a moment of silence to honor Wayne's leadership and dedication to Kenosha County. Thank you. Youth and Governance. Tonight we have Claire Koch attending. Thank you, Claire, for being here tonight. She was also at Legislative as well. Moving on to Supervisor reports. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. I have two committee updates tonight. Judiciary and Law Enforcement and Public Works Committee. I will try to be shorter than Supervisor Grady, so thank you. First, I'm going to go with Judiciary and Law Enforcement. The JLEC Committee nominated and approved Supervisor Gray as JLEC's second Vice Chair. Congratulations. On Wednesday, October 2nd, we will have a regular meeting at 6 p.m. and there will be a budget presentation by Clerk of Courts, Becky Mataska. She'll be at a conference the following week. And then we'll have a resolution for Wilmot Mountain and then the sheriff's updates. On Tuesday, October 8th, JLEC will have their budget meeting. At 5:30, we'll have a light dinner provided by myself, and I got it approved by Corporate Counsel. And then we'll go through the budget presentations. At our last Judiciary and Law Enforcement meeting, the Honorable Judge Wilk provided a presentation on Kenosha County Treatment Court. The Kenosha County Treatment Court program provides intensive supervision and evidence-based treatment services for convicted individuals who live with mental health and/or substance use disorders. During our meeting, Supervisor Caro inquired if opioid settlement funds could be used to increase the number of participants in this program. Kenosha County Behavioral Health Director Carrie Voss has requested additional treatment alternatives and diversion grant funding for 2025 to increase the program participation from 15 to 18 participants. She has also requested additional funding for peer support specialists. While the increase in grant money will be helpful, the division is looking at efficiencies. Feedback from Wisconsin Department of Justice was to look at adopting the comprehensive community support model to structure treatment court. Currently, several Wisconsin counties use this model. Adopting this model will streamline accessibility and provide more treatment options for participants that will also lead to overall program cost savings. You'll hear more about this in November from Director Voss. Judge Wilk invites all of you to view his treatment court every Wednesday in room 205 from 3:30 to 4:45. You can view his excellent presentation on our Kenosha County YouTube channel. Moving on, Supervisor Gray and I will be updating Chapter 8 license and permits, the municipal code. We've encountered some inaccuracies, some competing language, and it needs clarification. So we will be reviewing that together and submitting it to legislation. Regarding the Sheriff's Department update, we had a long discussion on correction staff turnover and retention. We discussed the pressing concern that has significant implications for the efficiency and safety of our correctional facilities, the high turnover rate of correction officers. This challenge not only affects the day-to-day operations of our facility, but also has broader implications for staff morale, inmate safety, and the overall effectiveness of our correctional mission. Recent turnover statistics indicate that we are losing a significant number of correction officers within their first year of service, sometime within a couple months. We have been hiring new COs, correction officers, monthly for the past 2 years. Of the 35 hires, they have retained 23 of the COs of the 35 to date, but they're losing COs at all levels, from 0 to 12 months and 1 to 3 years. The impact of this turnover is felt in several key areas. Operational strain. Increased reliance on overtime leads to staff burnout and diminishes their ability to maintain a secure environment. Training costs. High turnover results in continually investing in training new hires, diverting our resources from other crucial areas. And then staff morale. A revolving door of personnel can erode team cohesion and diminish morale, impacting overall job satisfaction. A fundamental step to address the issue is to bolster, in my view, the staffing levels. By hiring additional correction officers, we can reduce the workload on existing staff because they work 10 and 12-hour shifts 4 days a week, and promote a healthy work-life balance and enhance the overall working environment. Adequate staffing is critical to ensuring that our COs can perform their duties effectively, maintain safety protocols, and provide the necessary support to each other. The Sheriff's Office has also implemented several strategies for our current correction officers, but they're not enough. We need more COs staffed. They've implemented competitive compensation, so they're reviewing salaries and benefits to assure that they're appropriate to meet the demands of the job. Professional development, offering training programs and advancement opportunities to foster career growth and engagement. And they also have implemented a supportive environment, implementing wellness programs. And Deputy Chief Justin Miller told me this is crucial, that these well-grown wellness programs are implemented because they address the mental and emotional health of our officers. And then lastly, they've implemented feedback mechanisms, creating avenues for officers to voice their concerns and suggestions for workplace improvements. As county officials, we must address the budget shortfalls that have contributed to inadequate staffing in corrections. This is not merely a fiscal concern. It's about investing in the welfare of our communities. By prioritizing funding for hiring and retaining qualified staff, we would not only enhance the safety of our correctional facilities and the public they serve, but also support the mental and physical wellness of the officers working tirelessly every day. Our corrections staff work in very demanding situations, often facing challenging scenarios with little acknowledgement of the sacrifices they make. They deserve our attention, our respect, and our gratitude, and it falls upon us to ensure they are given the resources they need to succeed. And lastly, from the JLEC Committee, I'd like to invite you all to the K-9 fundraiser on October 13th at Parkway Chateau. That's at the Brat Stop, and it's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. All the dogs will be present, all the plushies, and look forward to seeing everybody there. Now, moving on to Public Works. In September, Public Works meeting will be In September, the Public Works meeting will be on Monday, September 30th, versus normally the fourth Monday, which would be September 23rd. This is due to the Wisconsin Counties Association Conference, so again, it's September 30th. It'll be held at the Public Safety Building in the Joint Services Conference Room. We'll have a tour beginning at 5:45, and the meeting will start at 6:30. I hope that you're all invited to join us. The next item on the agenda was Kemper Center. We reviewed the Keene report for our operating model options. And I think next month, at the end of this month, we'll be talking about the Kemper Center interior assessment. So that should be an interesting discussion. With regard to the Parks Division staffing updates, Craig Hendrickson has rejoined the Parks team, once again serving as its dedicated mechanic. Craig will oversee the repair, maintenance, and cold storage of all equipment in the Kenosha County Parks fleet. We'd also like to congratulate Mackenzie Godlewski. She was promoted to the role of Development Coordinator, Grant Specialist after a round of interviews in early August. She has served as a Special Events Coordinator for the last 2 years and will take over managing the special event and recreation programming offered by Kenosha County Parks. Mackenzie will also be responsible for researching, drafting applications, and reporting for grants in the Parks Department. With regards to the Parks Department, all projects with target dates for 2024 are on track for completion. With regard to the Highway Division, County Highways AH, which is 83 to SA, the paving's been completed. County O, from P to County Line, the paving is still ongoing. It should be completed by the time of this presentation. With regard to state highways, County EW, which is County Highway JB to County K, paving is scheduled for September. County JR, Green Bay Road to County E, paving is scheduled for September. And County A, the culvert replacement is scheduled for September. County Highway KR to South 75th, State Highway 75 is preparing signage for roadway transfer. And then countywide ditching, brush cutting, and mowing is taking place. For the Facilities Division, all projects are within budget and on target completion. Facilities Division special projects, the KCDC HVAC replacements, Phase 4 of 4, is a little over by $60,000, and it will come under budget in Phase 1 and 2, since they have 11% contingency for the next phases, so they should be under budget going forward into the next phase, and work is scheduled in December. KCC backup generator design and replacement, it's about $90,000 over, and this is for replacing the end-of-life, the 30-year-old end-of-life backup generator for the KCC building. There are funds available to cover the portion which exceeds the budget. The civil work started on June 4th. With regard to golf, this is exciting, I think. Kenosha County has entered into an agreement with, for the use of its golf courses to the members of the men and women's golf teams from UW Parkside during their spring and fall seasons. UW Parkside will pay a reduced fee. This year it will be $95 per player for golf privileges to the Kenosha County Golf Division. And then fees will be determined for the prior year on March 1st. And then Kenosha County will specify the days and times of the golf privileges. So I think that's a really great to engage with our local schools. And then with regard to the operations update, total rounds of golf as of August 19th, we're at 82,058, whereas in August of 2023, they were at 78,491. So they continue to hover around 3,500 rounds above the pace of 2023, which was a record season. Dry and cooler than normal weather is expected for the last 2 weeks of August, and I think it was, which we hope will translate into continued high usage for golf facilities. And that's all I have.
Thank you,
glad?
Supervisor Balsky.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Gashke.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. Just two brief updates. The first is on the Kenosha Joint Services. The board had a meeting, the monthly meeting, August 27th, so about a month ago. And just a couple of updates from that meeting. The first is that there are 8 telecommunicator vacancies, so dispatchers, phone operators. We have 8 vacancies still currently available. We do have a conditional offer, and so hoping that we have at least one of those filled in the coming weeks. In the Records Department, there's one clerk vacancy, a number of applicants for that, and anticipating that being filled soon. Fleet Maintenance, there is a manager vacancy due to the recent retirement of Pat Sapansky, and so September 3rd was his last day after many years of service to our county and community, and so we're looking to fill his spot in the coming weeks as well. Either late September or early October is the target date. Just a couple of statistics on the call volume. In the month of July, there were over 5,000 911 calls received, and 96% of those were answered in 10 seconds or less. 98% under 15 seconds. And the industry standard, kind of the best practices industry standard, is to have 90% of the calls within 15 seconds. So we're very proud of our local workers that are well exceeding the industry standards and keeping our community safe. One high note that I wanted to note, on August 5th, Monday, August 5th, telecommunicator Kristen McCoy gave emergency medical instructions over the phone and assisted in the delivery of a baby girl. And so every time that something like that happens, it's a joyous occasion. And so we're thankful for Kristen and all of the many other workers who day in and day out serve our community. We are looking forward to having updated financials and updated insurance information forthcoming at our upcoming Joint Services Committee meetings. We also did receive an update on the 911 replacement system and how that's coming along, and possible tower placement and things along those lines. If you have any further questions about the Joint Services Board, please feel free to reach out and I can email you information. Then one final update that I wanted to give you. Today I had the privilege of attending the Kenosha Innovation Neighborhood's beam topping off ceremony. So the Kenosha Innovation Neighborhood, abbreviated KIN, is the 107-acre site at the old Chrysler site, and that is not far from here. It's right in my district. You may have seen over the past year that the Technology High School is being built there, as well as the Innovation Center itself, the Kenosha Innovation Center. And today was the final beam was placed. Attendees had the opportunity to sign their name on the beam, and so that will be visible in the atrium over the coming years. If you're not familiar with the Kenosha Innovation Neighborhood, I would encourage you to find out more information about that. Kelly Armstrong is the new director of KIN, and I just met with her last week and would look forward to the opportunity of her perhaps giving an update to our board in the coming months about all of the exciting developments at the Kenosha Innovation Neighborhood. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gashke. Supervisor Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a quick reminder that the Pringle Nature Center is having the Fall Fun Festival on, I just had it, September 21st, 11 to 3. And I'm new to that board, and there were several other new board members there, and I'm struck by the energy that's there. So I'm excited about the direction of that organization. So if Saturday the weather's good, I would invite you out.
Thank you for sharing that. Any other supervisor comments? Seeing none, supervisor reports are closed. Moving on to the agenda. Madam Clerk?
County Board Chairman appointments. 3, Guida Brown to serve on the Land and Water Conservation Committee.
Refer to Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
4, Frederick Brookhouse to serve on the Land and Water Conservation Committee.
Refer to Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
County executive appointments, 18, Michael Bastianelli to serve on the Land Information Council.
Refer to Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
New business, Resolution 43, from the Public Works and Facilities and the Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution discontinuing former public right-of-way of a portion of Carroll Road. This passed at both committees. Supervisors Decker and Meadows were excused.
Supervisor Belsky.
Move Resolution 43.
Moved by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Gentz. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you. This was before the Town of Randall on January 25th, and they approved, the Town Board and Plan Commission approved the items on the agenda. The west lot will allow for residential driveway, and the east lot, there will be no ingress or egress to or from the cul-de-sac to Highway F. This was approved unanimously in committee, and I ask for your approval.
Any discussion on Resolution 43? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Resolution 44 from the Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Heather Van Oss to serve as the Director of Aging and Disability Services. This passed at committee. Supervisors Poole and Robinson were excused.
Supervisor Franco.
I move Resolution 44.
Moved by Supervisor Franco, second by Supervisor Kirby. Supervisor Franco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Heather Van Oss brings over 13 years of experience in the human services field, with the last 8 years within the Division of Aging and Disability Services, serving as a benefit specialist supervisor and more recently as the manager of Aging and Disability Services. She graduated from UW-Whitewater with a bachelor's degree in social work and is currently pursuing a master's degree in applied professional studies with a concentration in leadership in public service from UW-Parkside. On September 3rd, the Human Services Committee voted unanimously for Ms. Van Oss. We ask the board to confirm her appointment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Franco. Any discussion on Resolution 44? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 45 from the Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Supervisor Guida Brown to serve on the Racine Kenosha Community Action Agency. This passed at committee with Supervisor Brown abstaining and Supervisors Poole and Robinson were excused.
Supervisor Franco.
I move Resolution 45.
Moved by Supervisor Franco, second by Supervisor Nez. Supervisor Franco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On September 2nd, the Human Services Board unanimously approved the appointment of Supervisor Brown to serve on the Racine Kenosha Community Action Agency Board. Supervisor Brown, as many of you know, was the Executive Director of the Hope Council for 13 years. She has also served on many nonprofit organizations in Kenosha, such as the Women's Network, Kenosha County Substance Abuse Coalition, and the Women's Club. With her experience, Supervisor Brown will make an excellent addition to the Racine Kenosha Community Action Agency Board. I ask the board's approval for her appointment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Franco. Any discussion on Resolution 45? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 46 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Sean Douglas to serve as a member of the Local Emergency Planning Committee, Group 5 Industry Tier 2. This passed unanimously at committee.
Supervisor Belsky.
Move Resolution 46.
Moved by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Franco. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you. I want to say that Mr. Douglas has over 10 years of volunteer work with Design Emergency Services and Disaster Agency, and 10 years working with the ammonia system compliance for EPA and OSHA rules and regulations. Based upon these qualifications, we feel that his appointment to serve a 3-year term as a member of the Local Emergency Planning Committee until August 2027 should be approved. Our committee approved it unanimously, and I'm asking for your approval tonight.
Any discussion on Resolution 46? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes unanimously.
Resolution 47 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the probationary cabaret license for Sit and Bowl Tavern, 39600 Bloomfield Road in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee.
Supervisor Balski.
Move Resolution 47.
Moved by Supervisor Balski, second by Supervisor Garcia. Supervisor Balski.
Reviewing this specific resolution brought us to look at Ordinance 8 for permit licenses and permits. Unfortunately, we wanted to ask questions of Mr. Patel, but he did not come to our meeting. However, the committee felt that since there were no outstanding issues, he does have a valid liquor license that we would approve from probationary to permanent. But I want to make clear that any cabaret licensing coming before the JLUC committee, we would ask for the individual to be present so that we can ask questions and get answers. And I would also remind people submitting for cabaret license that they are only allowed to play music until dusk. So with Resolution 47, I am asking tonight for the county board's approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Balski. Any discussion on Resolution 47? Supervisor Stocker.
I'll be abstaining on this vote.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, abstained. Let the record reflect Supervisor Stocker abstaining.
Resolution 48 from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department request to renew the operating agreement with Wisconsin Community Services, Inc., doing business as WCS. This passed unanimously at committee.
Supervisor Balski.
Move Resolution 48.
Moved by Supervisor Balski, second by Supervisor Gray. Supervisor Balski.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. The WCS manages the Sheriff Department's Intoxicated Driver Intervention Program. This renewal was from January 1st, 2024 to go through December 31st. It isn't that the Sheriff's Department is late getting this in, it's just the renewal process with WCS. It was approved unanimously in committee, and I ask for your approval this evening.
Any discussion on Resolution 48? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 48 passes.
Resolution 49 from the Finance Administration Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Patricia Merrill to serve on the Wisconsin Counties Utility Tax Association. This passed at committee. Supervisor Nudo excused.
Supervisor Gens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move Resolution 49.
Moved by Supervisor Gens, second by Vice Chair Gashke. Supervisor Gens.
Thank you. Kenosha County is one of 37 counties that are members of this association. The purpose of it is to ensure that counties that have power plants and other things like that located in their county receive fair funding in lieu of taxes. Many new things are happening right now with solar farms, battery storage, that type of thing, and the decommissioning of our Pleasant Prairie power plant. So it is a good time to have her with that association. It passed unanimously in committee, and I would ask for your approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Gens. Any discussion on Resolution 49? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Patty.
Resolution 50 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding Daniel Velasco Palos and Liliana Lozano de Lavasco owners, requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from suburban density residential to commercial in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move Resolution 50.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Decker. Supervisor Brookhouse.
The Velasco's owners request an amendment to the land use plan from suburban residential to commercial. The PETA committee passed this unanimously, and we ask for your support tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion on Resolution 50? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 50 passes unanimously.
Resolution 51 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding Paul A. Rupka, Dennis J. Rupka, Brian J. Rupka, and Stephen A. Rupka owners, requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from farmland protection and SEC to farmland protection, general agricultural, and open land and SEC in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move Resolution 51.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, second by Supervisor Gearston. Supervisor Brookhouse.
The Rupka family owners request an amendment to the land use plan in order to consolidate adjoining farmland. The PETA committee voted unanimously to approve this, and I request your approval tonight.
Thank you, Supervisor Brookhouse. Any discussion on Resolution 51? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 51 passes unanimously.
Ordinance 9 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Daniel Velasco Palos and Liliana Lozano de Lavasco owners, requesting a rezoning from B5 Wholesale Trade and Warehousing District to B3 Highway Business District on tax parcel 954-219-314-0361, and from R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District to B3 Highway Business District on tax parcel 954-219-314-0362, and on part of tax parcel 954-219-314-0363 in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move Ordinance 9.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, second by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brookhouse.
The Velasco's owners request a zoning change from warehouse and residential to highway business. The location of this property is on Highway 50, just east of the mushroom store. The PETA committee requests that you approve this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Brookhouse. Any discussion on Ordinance 9? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 9 passes unanimously.
Ordinance 10 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Daniel Velasco Palos and Liliana Lozano de Lavasco owners, requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from suburban density residential to commercial in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move Ordinance 10.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, second by Supervisor Robinson. Supervisor Brookhouse.
The Velasco's owners request an amendment to the land use plan from suburban residential to commercial. This property has a large barn that will be used for events, primarily on weekends. There will not be any outside dining or entertainment other than an outside space for ceremonies. I request the board approve this.
Any discussion on Ordinance 10? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 10 passes unanimously.
Ordinance 11 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Paul A. Hrupka, Dennis J. Hrupka, Brian J. Hrupka, and Stephen A. Hrupka, owners, requesting a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District, C2 Upland Resources Conservancy District, and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District, A2 General Agricultural District, C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District, C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District, and PUD Planned Unit Development Overlay District in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll excused.
Any discussion on Ordinance 11? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 11 passes unanimously.
Ordinance 12 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Paul A. Hrupka, Dennis J. Hrupka, Brian J. Hrupka, and Stephen A. Hrupka, owners, requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan from farmland protection and SEC to farmland protection, general agricultural, and open land and SEC in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move ordinance 12.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Decker. Supervisor Brookhouse.
The Hrupkas request an amendment to the land use plan in order to for adjoining farm properties. PETA recommends board approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Brookhouse. Any discussion on Ordinance 12? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 12 passes unanimously.
Communications, 39, communication from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the probationary cabaret license, Wilmot Mountain, 11931 Fox River Road in Wilmot, Wisconsin, in the town of Randall.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee.
40, communication from the Public Works Facilities Committee, a resolution to accept the Community Development Block Grant to support the 2024 Kemper Center Building Exterior Restoration Project.
Refer to Public Works, Facilities, and Finance Administration Committees.
41, communication from the Public Works and Facilities Committee, a resolution to amend a state and local highway system.
Refer to Public Works, Facilities Committee.
42, communication from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
43, communication from the Human Services Committee and the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution to approve health-designated ARPA funds for the purchase of a liquid mass and spectrometry, LCMS, instrument for the laboratory.
Refer to Human Services and Finance Administration Committees.
Claims 18, Josephine Sosa, property damage.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
19, Ronald Paul Bounds, property damage.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
20, Tracy Pellicori, property damage.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
Approval of the August 20th, 2024 minutes by Supervisor Kirby.
Supervisor Kirby.
I move to approve the minutes from the August 20th, 2024 County Board meeting.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Kirby, second by Supervisor Gentz. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Supervisor Nudo, move to adjourn, second by Supervisor Morrissey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.